One of my goals has always been to live abroad. So when I got the opportunity to move to London, it was kind of a dream come true, even though it was somewhat unexpected. My name's Imani Change. I'm 28 and I live in London, UK. My salary is comprised of both a base salary and stock and investments, which comprises of money that is paid in pounds, but also US dollars. Last year, I was actually promoted to my current role as a senior operations manager, and I became one of the youngest senior operations managers here in Europe at that time. Hi, welcome to my living room. So this is actually a space that converts into a second bedroom when I have friends and family visit. This is my kitchen. I definitely spend a lot more time in this space now that I've been cooking more at home. So I think the biggest expense that was a bit of a surprise for me when I moved here to London is that it is very comparable to New York City. It's very expensive. Renting is not as easy as it was when I had lived in Baltimore previously. When you're looking for a place, the listing price is not necessarily what you'll get it for. They do a whole bidding process to be able to secure a place, and if it's in a high demand area, the price might be very different ultimately to be able to secure the location. What they wanted to see is that I could definitely pay my rent. So I ended up paying the first 12 months up front, and then after staying in the place for 1 month, I paid another 4 months. Ultimately, that's obviously not something that's easy to do. A big part of being able to do that was getting some support in terms of what my relocation package was. Welcome to the bedroom. So it is a separate space from the living and kitchen, which I really love. It gives us a separate area. We actually just passed the half bath that I'll use when I actually have guests staying with me. And then you'll kind of get to see the space. It has lots of closets, which is not very common in the UK, I find. And then right behind me is where we have the full bathroom that I use on a daily basis. My dad actually had a background of finance growing up, and he always would try to teach me best practices for managing money. Saving, I actually started at the age of 5. When I had my allowance, I had to save 50% of the allowance that I made for college, and it really helped me not only see the value in kind of having this practice of saving some of your income for future things, but it also just allowed me to have a better relationship with money. One thing that makes me a little bit different than many students is I don't have student debt. It definitely was made possible through some of the support of my parents, the saving that I had done when I was younger, and also scholarships. I actually moved here expecting to be spending more money and having a bigger budget for my day-to-day life, but what I'm finding is that because I'm in a pandemic, there's a lot less stuff to spend money on, entertainment, etc. So I actually end up spending about 40% less than what I had previously budgeted for. I would say the UK is a little bit more expensive. The big things driving that is my rent is definitely more pricey. When I was living in the US, I actually Airbnb'd out my second bedroom in the place that I was living in, so that covered the expenses of my housing and my rent. The other thing is that I have to pay something called council tax here, which is basically a tax for the services of my neighborhood. And then I also find that I pay a little bit more in utilities. My water bill is more expensive here, but outside of that, things are pretty comparable. Some of the other nice surprises is that groceries were way cheaper. You're able to get a good trip with just 35 pounds, whereas in the US, I couldn't get a decent trip until I paid at least $80. Overall, my expenses are definitely higher here, but it's a big part of just choosing to live abroad and have a different experience. Last year, I became one of the youngest senior operations managers at my company, which is something that was extremely exciting for me, especially since when I started at my company about 5.5 years ago, I always saw this as a role that was kind of unattainable, and I didn't really see people who looked like me doing this work. It was really just figuring out, how do I get there? How do I grow within not only my role, but as a leader? And how do I help other people also move into these spaces that maybe they don't see a lot of people that look like them? And that's kind of been a big goal of mine within growing within my career and hopefully bringing people with me. I do have different cash, so I have my pounds here. I then have my US dollars here that I use if I end up back home. I also have some euros, which have saved me in a pinch when I was traveling around Europe for work and ended up in a taxi that was cash only, and then some South African rands hanging out, and then I think that's it. For my everyday spending, I actually use my US credit card. I'm a big traveler. I actually have a card that has a no foreign transaction fee, so I still use it here because it has way more benefits than the credit cards they offer in the UK. So I'm able to get a lot of cash back. I'm able to use my points. So overall, I get back about $1,000 a year by using my credit card here instead of using something that's UK based. Previously, before the pandemic, I would try to go somewhere completely new at least 2 times a year. And I think one of the biggest things that's tough right now is I actually get more time off or annual leave here in the UK. And it sounds like a wonderful thing, but it's actually really hard to find time to use all of it. So right now I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna use the time. And I think it just might look different. It might be taking time off to stay at home. When I was in the US, I was actually doing a max contribution to my 401k. And they have a similar program here in the UK called a pension plan. However, I do contribute less to it. I only contribute the amount that my company will match. And the main reason why is because I don't know how long I'll be here, and I want to definitely have some more control over my funds. Should I move away from the UK, I don't want it to be super complicated to get access to those funds when I'm in my retirement age. I have 2 different things I would say I splurge on. One is sometimes I will get the nice designer item, but that's something that I feel like once you have a staple in your closet, you can kind of just keep with it and pair it with different outfits. Now my splurge has become app games on my phone, which sounds really dorky, but there's nothing better than when, especially during the pandemic, where you might be just hanging out at home, to be able to play different games on your phone, and they honestly get me with the in-app purchases sometimes. So I'm trying to be better about it. But the one that I'm currently really getting into is one called Redecor, where you basically feel like an interior decorator, but you're not actually decorating, you're just decorating on your phone, so it's kind of fun for me. One of my personal goals is to hopefully figure out how to become a millionaire by 30 and buy a home by the age of 33. A big part of that is me figuring out how to perfect saving money. How can I allow the money that I make to work better for me to make more money? And hopefully it'll give me the opportunity to achieve these things and show people that it's possible. And a big part of that is me trying to just kind of take some tips of how I made it simple for myself. And then I'm actually trying to start a website to help share some of those tips and tricks with others. It's called Mo Money No Problem, MoMoneyNoProblem.com. It's something that I'm pulling together to hopefully help represent women of color who are trying to do their thing in the workspace.